Welcome to the In My 30s podcast, episode number 4 with Allea Grummert.
Yay! We're here. We did it.
In my 30s.
Okay, so Allea and I met because she moved into my old apartment. And she is a really impressive entrepreneur who runs her own business. Email marketing is the focus.
Yeah.
So we just met, I guess we met through a friend.
Yeah.
A friend.
Everybody who comes to my apartment in Nashville and sees it, they're like, how did you get this place?
Oh my
gosh. It's so incredible. I know. I feel like I'm bragging to you about the space that used to be yours.
I know. And I loved it. And it was hard to give up because I knew it was so special. And it's like, it really is a special place. And the landlord is a special lady.
She's incredible. And I remember chatting with you because it was like both of us were making big decisions. Like you were making a big decision to move out of that space. I was making a huge decision to move from Nebraska to Nashville. So yeah, a mutual friend of ours had saw that you had posted that you were putting your place up for rent, had this great landlord, whatever. And she was like, Allea, you need to reach out to Emma. And so that's how we met. And
it was such a good space. I just personally I was there for 4 years almost.
Yeah.
And I was there through 2 breakups, my business falling apart, my business partner leaving, and COVID. And I just felt like I couldn't escape all the disappointment.
Yep.
But I loved the space. So but the truth is, like, wherever you go, there you are. But I do feel like an environment change can at least help. So I was like, wait, is Allea still wanting to live there? Because I would move back in.
Yeah, it'll be a year in a couple of weeks that
So do you love it?
I moved in. I love it. I remember because you FaceTimed me and gave me a tour.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? And you're like, it looks like a storybook, and it does. And like, I love getting to host people. And even though it's like street parking in a neighborhood, I'm like, people, come over. And so it's been a really awesome place for me to, it feels like home.
Yeah.
You know, I moved 12 hours away, and I'm like the only person in my whole family that lives outside of Nebraska. I have one cousin in Atlanta on that whole side of the family out of and so it's just a very much Nebraska thing. So the idea of moving at all beyond Kansas City is kind of life shattering.
So I heard that, I didn't hear, I also was there. I saw your stuff move in. You have had a lot more stuff than I did in there because I'm a minimalist, as you can tell.
Yes.
I'm very I only get things I want to look at. I don't like to look at a lot of stuff, so I think that's why I have so few things and I move a lot.
Yeah.
So we're different in that. I like to move a lot.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I lived in the same apartment in Lincoln for almost 7 years.
Wow.
And that was my first time living alone. Loved living alone. I actually wanted to move to Nashville when I was 22.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I ever told you that. So it's kind of wild to think of if Allea at 22, how I would have experienced Nashville. I would have had to have roommates, all this.
Yes.
And part of why I stayed in Lincoln so long, Lincoln, Nebraska, which if you haven't heard of it, it is the capital, but it's so tiny. Nobody ever really thinks about Nebraska. But every couple of years, I was like, why do I live here? I should live in Chicago. I should live in New York or Nashville, something sexy versus, population, 250,000 people in Nebraska. But every time I thought that, I would always come back to the reason why I loved where I lived. And there was so much I needed to do in my 20s. I needed to go to therapy. I needed to make friends who wanted to be my friends. I wanted to I just had a lot of interpersonal things, muscles I needed to exercise and get stronger. And so it's crazy to think that I moved here at 34 and I'm oh yeah, I haven't cried. I haven't really been homesick. I do have a cat. She helps with that.
Oh wow.
But just wow.
You haven't cried or been homesick. I'm that's every week I'm homesick.
Isn't it wild? And so it just means that I made the move at the right time.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking in my 20s, I don't want to move just for the sake of moving.
Yeah.
Because relationships mean a lot to me. And I just felt stuck in Nebraska. A year and a half ago. I'd gone through a breakup. I was estranged from my parents. Seasonal depression is real. So I was I joke with people. They're why'd you move here? I'm to see who I might be without seasonal depression. Just super curious to know.
Yeah.
Do I even like her? So I actually moved to Tennessee temporarily, south of Nashville to Murfreesboro for 4 months.
Oh, right.
And at the end of the 4 months, I felt the Lord was Allea, would this be fun for you?
Yeah.
And I was I can just do stuff for fun. I'm a hyper responsible middle child, business owner, type A, and so, I just felt I think I can just do it for fun. And I can always turn around and go back to Nebraska at any point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finally felt equipped. You know, my business was advanced enough that I could actually afford to live in a place like Nashville and live here alone. And all I needed was my laptop, my computer, and my cat.
Yeah.
Laptop and computer are the same thing. Laptop, car, and cat. And yeah, and just like take my business with me wherever I wanted. And
wow.
Yeah.
Well, so you talking, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking of this and that and that. But your business is so impressive, what you've built, and the niche that you're in is so unique. So it's not just, well, your company's name is Duett, correct? And it's focused in email marketing, but specifically you do a lot of work with a certain type of business owner, right?
Yes.
And that is
food bloggers.
Food bloggers.
I work with a lot of food bloggers. So it's so niche, Emma, because it's like you could do email marketing, which could look like I do launches or I do evergreen course promotion or I work with Facebook ads and sell things. Like there's so much you could do with email marketing, but I focus on what I call welcome and nurture sequences. So as someone joins your email list, how are they introduced to you?
Yeah.
What content do you share with them? Do you have products that they need to know about? How do you get them to reply and engage with you? Like, how do you build community? And so it's like, I work specifically in this niche of welcome and nurture sequences for content creators. And most of them are food bloggers. So it's like the most niche thing possible. Wow. And I've been in business 7 years.
That's incredible.
Which I think maybe that's why I've been able to be in business for that long.
Yeah.
Because I'm like known for this thing.
Totally. It is interesting niching down. My dad and I have been talking about me doing more social media for people, which I've done. I've been doing it, but I've still been doing more music.
Yeah.
I would love to do like a full digital for a lot of artists, but I've been doing kind of any client that comes my way, like for digital marketing, and I don't promote it. It's just kind of anyone who needs help. I'm like, yeah, I do that. I'll do it for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to be a full identity shift. Because the music is still my main thing, you know? But it's like I need something to help me invest in my music, basically, because it's so expensive to do. But I have been thinking about like niching specifically down to whether it's just music artists or like I've been doing things for people, addiction specific lately. Like behavioral health and addiction, which is something that's close to me personally. So anyway, I think it's really cool that you've built your business specifically with a lot of food bloggers, but I wanted to have you on here because I just thought for any business owner, it'd be helpful to learn more about email marketing. And also you're so good at what you do. And
thanks, Emma.
Musicians, especially like, my first label meeting in Nashville was 2011-ish, I think, somewhere in there. The label owner, one of his main questions to me was like, are you building an email list? Back then, it was actually the person who signed Taylor Swift, which is crazy. It is true. I mean, even today, I always hear that email marketing is still the most effective form of communication with people.
Yeah.
And I did want to ask you about text messaging, SMS and all that, but why do you think that is? Like, beyond Facebook and Instagram, like why is email so important still?
Did Instagram exist in 2011?
I was using it in 2013, I guess.
Yeah. So like, let's see, or Tumblr does still exist. But I think of all of the different platforms that have come and gone since 2011, like Periscope or Vine or, you know, the algorithm on Instagram changes. Now we do video. That only happened during the pandemic.
I know.
Like, and I had friends whose businesses basically ended because they weren't willing to learn how to do reels and social. But honestly, like, I don't blame them. I don't want to have to dance in front of my camera either.
Oh my gosh.
To run a business. And so things like email marketing and like search engine optimization are like pretty long-standing things. But even SEO changes. Like Google's like, we've changed how people find things or search for things. And now AI pops up first, right? With their AI overview.
Right.
And it just makes it harder to get found on social, whereas like, or on search. But with email, like how often are you changing your email address?
I create a lot of new email addresses, but I hang on to all of them.
Yeah.
And they all filter to one.
Well, I can tell you how to do like a dummy email address. So you don't have to create new accounts all of the time. But the idea is that email is like just a really stable long-term marketing channel. Okay. So once you have somebody's email address, like I made my email address in college 17 years ago, you know, and I'm not out changing it the way that like the algorithms change or apps get created. Like TikTok could get banned. So while you could have like 5 million followers, if TikTok disappears, you have no way to get in touch with those people.
Totally.
Not a single way. You can't just be like, okay, now go find me on Threads. Like, there's no way to do that. The platform is gone, or you'd have to go move that platform over. So what's so cool about email is that no matter what platform you use or get started with, you can always download that list and move it to another platform.
Yeah.
So if you're just getting started, like, there's free platforms you can use to at least help grow your email list. And then you can always move to a different one if you're like, oh, I like that this tool has SMS and that's something that I want to move into.
Yeah.
But you can like download the whole list.
And when TikTok was going to be banned officially, everyone kind of realized like, oh, I need to be able to communicate with people. But I think for musicians, they have honestly been through the ringer with just trying to make a living. And basically everywhere you sell your music, everywhere your music is streamed, you have no access to that data. I mean, Apple sets your price, basically. You can't even set your own price unless you're selling on your own. You have 3 options of pricing. Like 69 cents, 99 cents, $1.29, like for a single. And it's just so interesting that in every other business, it wouldn't even occur to you to not set your own price. Yeah. Now, if you're selling digital products on your website, obviously you can set your own price. And I am trying to build out my website so that it's sort of like a one-stop shop and I'm not sending everyone everywhere. And like I wanted to start a Patreon, but then I was like, I don't want to send people to Patreon. Like I know I get their email address, but I'd rather it just be on my website. So I'm trying to figure out a way to like create content like this podcast, but have it be something that I own and control. And I'm not like at the mercy of some country buying the platform or something like one day.
And you're like, okay, bye to my entire audience that I work so hard to earn. Yeah. You know, oh, there's so much, Emma. So like, there's
so much there.
There's so much there. Okay. So like, you could even have like a paid membership subscription through an email list. And that could be your Patreon.
And so so are there platforms that you're talking about that so this is where I get lost. Or not lost, but I told you before, analysis paralysis. Yeah. There are companies doing music specific subscriptions. You know, some of them take high percentages, and the platforms themselves I think are still like beta to me. I'm like, you need to work out a few kinks a little bit, you know, before I'm like willing to do it. So are there various subscription platforms that handle like how you send out your videos or how you sell products, or like what are you talking about specifically, I guess? So
in the creator space online, which is I'm learning is very different than the music space. Like there's a reason why those tools are being marketed to musicians, because they're like, if they niche down, they get known for something, but they're doing a lot of the same things that these other platforms are. So I am in like the blogger space, or people who make money just by writing a newsletter every week. Like they sell affiliates, they sell products, they do coaching, whatever, and they just have this online business like what I do. But the tools that I use in my space would be like Flowdesk or Kit or like, I don't like MailChimp, just like stay away from MailChimp. That was going to be one of my main questions. To break that fourth wall. Stay away from MailChimp.
MailChimp is not sponsoring this episode for sure.
Like I would prefer that you would get started with Kit. Okay. So it used to be called ConvertKit. And the reason why is it's just like the usability is great, but you can also create products in there. I started out as a personal finance blogger in 2016.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, real nerd, super fun to have at parties. Let's talk about retirement. I want to be you,
basically, is what, like, you're just so, you have your you-know-what together. Oh my gosh. And I love it.
I was putting money into a mutual fund when I was like 16. I was like, Mom, can you give this money to Michelle at Waddell & Reed? And she'd be like, sure will. $100 check from her 16-year-old
you
daughter.
You are such a catch.
And still
we
single.
Were talking about dating earlier. I'm like, I'm just going to be like thinking of you and who to put you with. Anyway.
Yep. And,
so responsible.
Yeah. So I do find responsibility very sexy. I'm like, tell me more about how you paid your mortgage. What? Your power is still
years?
On?
You bought in cash?
What?
Is that you?
Oh my gosh. So, but Kit has a free plan as well. But even back then they didn't, and it was $29 a month. But for me, it was either that or MailChimp at the time. But what I loved about it, and what I still love about it, is that you can set up automations. It makes it really easy to send out a broadcast, like a newsletter. But they also have these paid offers. So you could sell digital products. You can create like a membership subscription to a newsletter. And you could have multiple tiers. So you could say like, if anybody buys this tier, you're going to get early access to X, Y, or Z.
Okay.
And so, but it's all just operated within kit.com. Within
So
your
could
platform.
I send, because I created tiers in the past and it was for a fan club because a lot of artists do fan clubs, but I actually feel very uncomfortable with the idea of a fan club. So I stopped it because I don't like that phrasing. I think it's sort of outdated and like 90s to me. And also I just have a problem with the word fan. Like, I don't know. It just makes me uncomfortable, but I'm a musician. So I guess I should be comfortable with it.
Well, and you can also reframe it, rebrand it, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Was it Steve Moakler has the smoking section, but MOAK?
Oh, does he?
Yeah. And he's had that for years. Jordan Davis has, what's it called?
You're
The
right.
Parish.
Okay, yeah, they rename, like Luke Combs has bootleggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I haven't thought of a cool name.
Yeah. Like just brainstorm like 20.
Yeah.
See what comes up. Ask your friends. Every time I rename, like want to name a service or something, I'll ask ChatGPT and they always suck. But it's always my friend Melissa. Like she's named 2 of my services now.
Amazing. I guess if you're selling a subscription though, are they sending out almost like a landing page every month where it's like a new video from you or a new...
I mean, the email itself could be where
Could
the
be that.
content lives. And then what's cool in Kit is you can make it public, if you will, but it would only show to people who are signed in and we know that they actually have paid.
Amazing.
So it's just like, yeah, here's a backlog of everything that I have, including stuff for members, if you're a member.
And they probably take like some kind of percentage of...
So Stripe takes a fee out of it, but I don't, Kit doesn't, like you're not paying any extra to you. They might take a little fee, but like I have like a $17 product and I think I get $15 out of $16 out of it every time somebody buys. Yeah.
That's really good.
So you could do like a digital product, but then you could also like sell coaching. So say you wanted to like, I don't know, do a group coaching program.
Yeah.
Maybe like coaching other artists, like do a little cohort or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like $300 a month, throw up a little sales page. They buy, they're paying, they're now in the club. And you can send out your Loom video updates and things like that through there.
What is Loom Video?
Oh, sorry, not Loom, but like a Zoom link. Like this is where we're going to
got
meet
it.
or whatever.
Okay.
Loom is another app that I really love. It's a video recording app. So I actually record a lot of my videos to my audience on Loom and I'll just upload the video to Kit and it lives there or I link to Loom. It's like Vimeo.
Okay.
Essentially.
Okay.
But you can like do screen recordings or I can just do screen on camera. Like I don't have to upload anything from my phone. I just do it all on the app.
Amazing.
But yes, so there's just so much you can do and sell through email and have direct access to your people.
Okay.
But you can also promote those things on social media. But the idea is that you have like this home base
For
that.
your like diehard for
Yeah.
music fans, but otherwise like just people who actually want to subscribe for real.
Yeah.
And so I have a couple questions that are coming to mind.
Yes.
I think with music, there's obviously in Nashville, there's this industry that you're desperate to be a part of here. And you want to be doing what, you know, the people on the CMAs are doing, or you want to be in the mix.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times for me, I lose sight of what I could actually be accomplishing growing my own fan base. And I'm still doing it. But I guess it's like a mental switch where it's like it never feels as good as like name the next person on the radio, like whoever it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the big record deal radio push.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because sometimes when I think of just the freedom and empowerment that comes with just building your own space, like that's exciting. And when I'm in the right mindset, I'm like, it's one fan at a time and it's one song at a time. But then I get in this other mindset where I neglect these very accessible tools. And because I'm like, no one's going to sign up and like, no one's going to want to like subscribe. You know, it's like that stuff.
Oh, it's mindset stuff.
It's mindset stuff.
100%. And like we all have it. It's like, you know, people are like, well, I don't want to sell this. You know, I don't want to come off salesy. I'm like, you wrote an entire cookbook. You can tell people about it. Like, you're not offending people. You're not like, hey, come to my email list for recipes and I'm going to like swindle you into buying some MLM, whatever. Like, we're not. Like, it's still true to who your brand is.
Yeah.
What I see, Emma, is like such a sweet opportunity for you to build a community.
Yeah.
And like, it is more grassroots. I mentioned Steve Moakler. I've been following him since like 2010. at least.
I've known of him and his music since then, for sure.
Yeah. Like I studied abroad with my Zune. Do you remember? This is before I never had an iPod.
I'm like, wait, a Tamagotchi? What
No,
are you talking about?
it's an MP3 player, a Zune.
Oh my gosh.
And I had one, like I had other music on there, but I only had one Steve Mokler song. And I would listen to it on the way to the bus where he's like, goodbye, bye, why we said goodbye. And like, so I've just been and that was 2011. Like, love
Wow.
Steve. But like, I've been following his journey for a long time. And like, he's still not like a huge star on CMA. Like, he finally, #1 single with Jordan Davis, which is wild because I also love Jordan Davis. And then I saw that they were writing together and I was like, oh my gosh, my mind.
Yeah.
But like, I consider myself such a diehard Steve Mokler fan, even though nobody else knew who he was.
Yeah.
Like he came to Lincoln, Nebraska for a $5 concert. And I was like, friends, everyone, you have to come. Like it should be 3 times this expensive at least. You know, I'm like, you're going to love this show. And he put on a great show. And that was in 2018. You know, and I'm like, everyone must come. So you have an opportunity to build that kind of relationship with people over a long time. Because how long have you been doing music?
Oh my gosh. My first song came out like probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
And just think like, and you want to be doing this 20 years from now.
Yeah.
So like, what does it mean to build those relationships?
Yeah. And the people that keep coming back and the group of people that still comment or whatever on a video or they actually buy my merch, I'm shocked, honestly, because I think with music specifically, it just feels like there's such a range of, you know, there are people who are performing on the CMAs.
Yeah.
And then there are people who have more of a grassroots thing. And I think in music especially, there is sort of a separation. And like from consumers, they kind of view you in a certain light.
Yeah.
Now, there are people who want to be diehard fans of anybody and they don't care. I feel like I just need to get out of my own way and just keep doing my thing. But this is the conversation that happens in my head.
There's so much to be said. And like, I've been in the online space since 2016, learning about personal finance and blogging and all of the things. And so much of it is like keeping your eyes on your own paper.
1000%.
It really is because like, I remember even telling myself at the time, like, I can't say that I've been a blogger for 5 years until I've been blogging for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like you just have to put in the miles. You have to put in the days. You have to put in the, you know, the watching the webinar, watching the training, try the thing. Like it's all part of learning and growing. And so it's just kind of like buckle down knowing that this is worth the direction that you're going in.
Yeah.
And if you know that it'll support you if you meet with a label or you come out with an album or whatever, like it makes it more, you're like, great, I have this asset that I've created.
Yeah.
And I know that it's made up of individuals, but it also does support you as a business. Like I know I have an email list of just over 2,000 people that I can email when I release a new podcast episode.
Yeah.
I have an avenue to get it into the inboxes of the people who said that they care.
Yeah.
And I can ask them, forward this to a friend, leave a review.
Yeah.
Book a call with me, whatever. So there's a lot of like keeping your eye on your own paper. When I got into the online space, and I tell this to any entrepreneur or people who are wanting to start a business, I'm like, pick your like 5 people you listen to and ignore the rest. Like look at what, you know, if you have artists that you're like, I kind of like how this person's doing email marketing. Just follow along with them. I remember just as a business owner thinking, I had a hard time with the idea of ever making money because I thought people who have money are just rude or like, I don't know, or entitled or something like that. And I grew up in rural Nebraska, like the last place you find a lot of money. And, or at least it doesn't feel like, you never know if the farmer down the street is a bajillionaire. They probably are. But I remember my business coach being like, go find examples of people who are rich, who are smart, who are women, and are not giving you that ick.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like Brene Brown. How successful is she? And confident.
And down to earth.
And down to earth. And she's good at what she does. And she's like not apologetic about like being good at what she does.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, she's probably making good money. And she's allowed to. And she's doing it with such a great attitude. And so like, how can I kind of embody, I don't know, so sometimes you just need examples.
Yes.
Like this is somebody who's been doing it. So
yeah. Well, so let's talk about that. I want to talk about Duett and what you provide to clients because I want to talk about your business and
sure.
like what kind of client would sign up with Duett?
Okay, so bloggers make a lot of money through their ad revenue.
Okay.
And you see ads on these recipe websites and you're like, hey, ads. Those ads pay for you to be able to see this free
and
recipe.
Is this Google AdSense typically? Or
It's actually through there are ad networks that once a blog hits a certain number of page views every month, they can apply to be on these ad networks.
Oh, okay.
And the ad networks place ads spots on their site, and then they kind of regulate what ads get shown. So it's a tool, let's see, Raptive is one, Mediavine is another. And to qualify for those means you're actually starting to make money from your blog. But you have to work really hard to get there. You have to be able to show up on Google or get your stuff on Pinterest and get that traffic back consistently enough that you'll qualify for an ad network. So the people who are hiring me for like my big done for you service, where we do audience research, we audit what they've been doing with email marketing, we write emails for them, we set up all the automations and the tech, and we announce it to their list. And then all new subscribers that come in are getting these wonderful 15 emails over the course of a couple months.
Amazing.
Okay. That we've curated and feel really on brand. And like people reply back, people click through, people buy their cookbooks, whatever. But the people who come to me for that are people who've been really established. Like they've tried it for a while. They've been blogging 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And I know that that's like not most everyone, probably no one listening to this.
Right.
But they're also making like, I don't know, $20,000 a month off of their blog. Like,
incredible.
Yeah, I'm making that number up. I'm sure some are more than that, but like they've been doing this for a while and they are absolute pros. I also have offers that are for smaller creators, people who might be like service providers or they're new to making money with Mediavine or Raptive. And basically they know if I don't get my email figured out, it's not going to happen for like 4 years.
Totally.
And so I'm like, how can I help you? And so we'll do like 5 emails for them.
Okay.
And there's nothing to audit, so we don't audit. They don't, like their audience is still small, so we don't really worry about audience research. We just kind of go with our gut and the direction that they want to take their business, write those emails, set them up, and give them the tools to grow their list and email their list regularly. Because it's one thing to like have an email list. Here's the other thing. You need to like email your list.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will like be nervous about even sending one email a month. And I'm like, honey, these people have said that they want your stuff.
Yeah.
And no one's going to be mad about getting another lasagna recipe from you if it's delicious.
So that's interesting because I wanted to ask you that. Like, how do you know? I am afraid of emailing people too much. And almost when I try to get people to subscribe, I'm like, I promise I won't spam you. I'm already apologizing,
Oh, Emma.
Like, because, I don't want to be over the top with that because people get so much email.
They do.
I want to talk to you about that. And also, I want to get to like funnels and what that means and nurture sequence and all that. So let's start with that. So how do you know you're not over emailing people, or is it more just a fear that people have?
It's mostly a fear that we have.
Okay.
But like people have opted in. Yeah. They've given you their email address and they're, legally you have to have a way for them to unsubscribe at the bottom of every email. Like that is their option, and so like they're there by choice.
Yeah.
And I always say like, you're not doing anyone any favors by not emailing them because they've said that they want it. And also you're not doing any favors for yourself because you just created this wonderful content that you want to send to them. I do want to I want to brainstorm this with you. Back to this idea of like, can we make email not feel like it's just a production?
Yeah.
Of like, do the thing. Like, what if, Emma, what if once a month, one of your emails was just like here's a behind the scenes and why I'm grateful to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like if one email felt like that and you had another email in the month going, here's new music.
Yeah.
Or recent music or a flashback, a TB2, like an older song that I was thinking about this week, and you just like, share it.
Yeah.
You're staying top of mind for people. You're reminding them, in that kind of diary entry type email, like I do gig work. Like I got to do this. If you know of anybody in the Nashville area looking for performers, like would love to do that. You can poll your audience. You can ask what they think. Like you can ask kind of like similar to a poll on Instagram. You can be like, I've got a song coming, or I'm working on a song about this. What would you name it? And you give 3 different names and have them reply back. So you get to create community in that way. Yeah. But if it felt like you were sitting down to say what do I want to say to these individuals, this person, in this town, even if it's 2 hours away, this person who signed up for my email list.
Someone DM'd me yesterday and was like, I'm still waiting for you to come to Boise, Idaho. I'm like, what?
I was just in Boise.
Really?
Yes. It's delightful.
So my family lives in Idaho.
Oh my gosh.
I know 2 people in Idaho, basically 4 people in Idaho. But
I know 4 others, so I can connect you.
But what's so funny is I forget that I think sometimes I'm just chasing the bigger industry thing because I crave community. And I'm always talking about this. I'm always craving Nashville community, with publishers and all these places that I'm sort of fringe. I still can't quite get in the mix here. Yeah. But there are people that are listening to my music, and that's my community, and I need to remember that.
Well, what if it was both?
Well, yes, I would like for it to be
right.
both.
We don't just exercise. We also eat healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
Both matter.
Totally.
You know?
I think sometimes I rely too heavily lately on social media to do the job for me. And it's like a lot of people miss your posts. And that's, again, why email is important.
Yeah. I have clients who are trying to grow their email list from social. And it's just like, when only 5% of your followers even see your content. So that should encourage you to find other ways to connect with them.
Yes.
And what's so cool is you send an email, people can just hit reply.
Yeah.
And it lands in your inbox. Like you are literally like building relationships with people.
Yeah.
I have a question in like an automated email that's just like, like, what's your number one struggle with email right now? And I get replies.
Yeah.
And I get to answer them. And that's just like, we're building rapport with people. And it's funny because they're always like, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised you replied. I was like, yep, still human. Still over here. Like, I'm not a machine. We're not machines. Yeah. Like we're small business owners. Mm-hmm. Can I call you that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you accept?
Yes, I have an LLC.
Yeah, you are. And like we can't be all things to all people. But one of the things I'm wanting to embrace even recently, I'm like, because I've been in business for 7 years. I've been creating content to support that business for 5.5 years. Wow. When I started writing my own email list and writing my own blog posts. And it's something that I want to embrace soon of like, I want to go to Switch Yards, like go to the co-working space here in town and like, what would it mean for me to write a letter to my readers? So it doesn't feel just like, here's a podcast or here's something I'm up to. Like it tends to feel very produced because I'm so used to like having to crank stuff out.
Yeah.
Which is I feel like maybe an industry type thing. Like you got to go into the studio, create the thing, machine.
I know.
Versus like, what if you allowed yourself to have this other element of your business that was like, what does it feel like to connect? Yeah. Even if I have to do the things. Yeah. I have to create the podcast. I have to do the client work. I have to do whatever. But I also get to like write a little journal entry, a little love letter to my people.
think it's just reminding yourself that people want to connect in that way. And they do. And certain people do. And I think the world is just so chaotic and busy. And literally you're told every day the algorithm wants quality, but they also want quantity. Like the algorithm lives on quantity. And I think sometimes you forget that like the grass is green where you water it kind of mentality, you know, and like paying attention to the people who really do want to connect with what you're doing.
And it doesn't have to be full steam. You don't have to be like, and now I've got a funnel and now I've got a product. It can be like, for the people on my list, what do I want to email them? I did want to bring up, speaking of like 2010, do you remember Noise Trade?
Yes, I remember that name for sure.
R.I.P. Yes. It's gone now.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody bought it and closed it down. But that's how I got like on Ben Rector's list. It was like they would give away samplers.
Okay.
So you could have like a sampler of 5 songs that they get for free and can download to their iTunes. Oh, cool. I know it's like forever ago, but like that's a way that you can get people to opt in for your list or like
I'm
have
definitely
a demo or whatever.
So one thing I want to do, which I did in the fan club version, which a couple people signed up for. Sometimes producing music is very costly. I just finished an album and it took years and a ton of money of my own money. And it just like, it's like pushing a rock up a hill and financially it's such a strain. And I'm like, I just want to share my songs in their, guitar vocal state and see what people think of them. And so I thought maybe if I do a subscriber list where it's like, if you subscribe, you get a song you've never heard before. And it's like just written state and it's not something I have to spend $3,000 to produce, but so I want to do something like that. Like I did think like Song Club or something.
Yeah. You could drop one a month.
Yeah.
And like they could even help you like brainstorm topic. Like you give your readers an opportunity to say like, ooh, I like this direction. Like you don't have to like take all of their feedback. Yeah. But just like let them kind of in on the process. And that could be part of Song Club could be your membership. Yeah. Instead of calling it a fan club, it's like it's Song Club. Song Club. You get Song Club, you get exclusive behind the scenes. Yeah. You get, to see X, Y, or Z before it's published. You'll get invited to like a Zoom hangout to get to meet me or whatever. Like That's awesome.
That. I love your whole energy. Well, you're very like positive and
well, we often really complicate it, and in a world where everything is hustle. Yeah. And like my business is 7 years old, and I've done it through like what they call like a slow business. Mm-hmm. Like, I could run ads, whatever, but like that's also very costly, and you have to like. I just don't want to feel rushed in my business. I want to be able to do good work, serve people, pay my bills, have have a team that likes working with my clients and likes working with me. And like, I want systems that work. And so, and part of it is I've been using this phrase for like the last 6 months or so of like, you have to move at 1x time.
Mm-hmm. Well, so it sounds like you have a good handle on not trying to do too much yourself. I know you manage a lot yourself.
Yeah.
But I know you have an assistant.
Oh, girl, I got a team.
You got a team. So I want to know about your systems. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're really good at saying, no, that's too much. We're not going to do that. Like running ads or whatever it is. I think sometimes it's hard to create consistency because you're trying to do too many things. But I feel like you have a really good head on your shoulders about that.
Thank you. I paid a lot for coaching in this direction.
Amazing.
Having a business coach is really helpful.
Okay.
Like I remember my first business coach, like she saved me thousands of dollars. Like sure, she cost me $1,000 or $1,200 a month at the time, but she's saving me from buying this $2,000 course because I don't feel good enough. She's like, or you do have skills and you just need to work on your confidence, and that is free. You know, so like there's a lot there. But she was big into like what can you do that's sustainable? So notice how I wasn't like, Emma, you need to email your list every week.
Yeah.
What would it look like to send 2 different types of emails once a month so you get excited to email them?
Yeah.
And then it's more fun to grow your list because you know people are going to get value from it.
Right.
And so, yeah, like I want you to be in business for a long time.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to create music for a long time.
Yeah.
And I want your audience to know how to get in touch with you for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
So like, how do we build things out so that we don't burn out?
Yeah.
And there's also like seasons in business. And I don't know if you experience this as an artist, but probably you have your like really creative, go gung ho, like go get it, hustle. Like I do, I hustle. And then you have like a month where you're like, ooh, we need to like get our stable ground, fix what didn't work, move on to the next one.
Yes.
Like I'm working on creating a new offer right now. So I've sold the offer. Now I need to figure out how to deliver it. And it's like, it's a brand new offer. Like we don't have the emails or the questionnaires ready to go. And it's like, okay, it's a first draft.
Yeah.
And then you refine it as you go. And every month, every quarter, it's going to get a little bit better. But you have to have patience with yourself. You're like, Allea in 3 weeks will have that much more dialed in. Allea today, because I'm also dealing with some low key anxiety this week, this is what I can handle.
Yeah. Even week to week, I notice like different mood shifts. And I'm like, last week I was so on top of it. And I always am like, I'm going to post every day and I'm going to crank it out. And, but then realistically, it's like, all right, what's the goal? Like, let's say the goal is 4 posts a week or whatever with social media. And you do have to kind of
pace yourself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And it's like even the idea of like, sure, grow your email list, but still go to the industry events.
Yes.
But then what do you do after the industry event? How do you optimize that? Are you following up with people? Are you DMing them on Instagram saying it was so nice to meet you?
You would make a great business coach. I'm like, you're coaching me right now. But
pleasure.
You're right. Like following up and doing both and not feeling like it's one or the other.
Yeah. And just like, how do you do each one a little bit better? So when it was a year ago, I was like, do I start a YouTube channel? Do I start a podcast? And I really did. Like, you have to make your pros and cons.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who, my business coach encouraged us. She's like, make a pro and con list, because once you decide on something, you're putting so much time and energy into it. You're naming it. You're creating the workflows for it. You're bringing a team member in on it. You're interviewing people. Like, what is the direction?
Yeah.
And it came down to like podcasting is just a lower bar of entry. I could like do it in my pajamas.
Yeah.
No one's going to see it on camera.
Yeah.
Whether it's me or with a guest. And it's like much more low key.
Yeah.
And like now I can level up to like, okay, now we should put these on YouTube.
Right.
Or whatever. Or like, I don't even record the video to put it on Reels. I'm like, it's okay to just do this and add in the video component.
And if I want to get to the video, I'll do that.
But first things first, I need to know like, how much time does my editor need to edit this? How do we write up show notes? How does this get published on the blog?
Yeah.
Like, how am I promoting it to my email list? How am I giving my guest what they need to promote it? Like, there's already so much to do. So maybe it's just like take an honest look at how much work something is and pace yourself and develop it and just say, it's okay that I'm in a season of making sure that this works.
And let it develop. Yeah.
And let it develop without feeling like I have to go do something else.
And I was watching this video. I think it was an former Apple executive of some kind who just was talking about how being focused is being able to say no to a really strong idea. But for me right now, I'm like, well, I want to do the podcast. I want to be writing still. And I see how they can benefit each other.
Yeah.
And I'm not an Apple executive. I'm not worried about that type of business. So I feel like I can still stretch and try to learn new things and kind of be in different spaces. And I want to let myself do that because I've had so much fun learning all this stuff. I feel like I have like a little TV show, which is so fun.
I love it. You've got your setup. I love it.
Yeah, but I am editing it myself and filming it myself, and it's a lot. But I like learning. Mm-hmm. But I think a really good way to think of it is what you said exactly. Is like do what you can and let it develop.
Let it develop.
And just see how, like just see how you can make it progress without putting too much pressure.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go.
You had mentioned my team. My first hire was like, basically I would audit people's email marketing, automations, their everything. And I realized it was taking me like 4 hours to go and like gather the current stats or get access to their stuff and like get acclimated before I even thought critically about the copy in their emails or on their landing pages or whatever. That I was like, by the time I was like, oh, I don't have much of a brain left. Yeah. So I was like, what would it mean for me to hire this part out so that when I sit in front of the computer, I just get to use my best brain?
Yes.
So like, that's where it starts of like, how can I use, what can I give out to other people?
You probably had to hit some type of like income threshold, do you think, or no?
Not really. You can hire a VA for like 5 hours a week. Or 2. I think I hired her 10 hours a month. Oh, wow. Because I was like, I only have one project.
So where'd you find your virtual assistant?
Oh, I have duett.co/hire. If you go there, it'll redirect to a Google Doc.
Amazing. Okay, so duett.co is your website.
Yeah, duett.co/hire, and it'll redirect to a Google Doc because people ask me this all the time. What you need to do is you post your job listing for free. You share it with all these job boards that are on the back end of VA courses.
Okay.
So all these different virtual assistant courses are like, they want all of their people who've just gone through their program to get work, right? They're trained now. And we get to say, I need someone to check my email.
Yeah.
I need someone to help organize my contracts or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to hire. In fact, I would not encourage it. Like, don't hire everything out at once.
Yeah.
Just like, this is a task that I need. And you can hire someone for like just a project and see how it feels to work with them.
Amazing.
Or hire them for 2 months and say, let's reevaluate.
Yeah.
But like you have to give yourself time to onboard them, give them time. Yeah. Being a manager is a whole other skill set, Emma. Like, boy, have I been humbled.
Well, so I had a team when I was living in that place. And
I didn't know that.
I realized, whoa. Like I went from like driving Uber to like hiring people and firing people. And I was like, I do not like managing people because I felt like I couldn't just do the art. But now I'm in a different position where I have no budget and just myself. And I kind of am embracing doing it all myself again in a different way. Yeah. But managing people is another job.
It's a whole other skill set.
It's like
it's one thing to like start a business, keep your books full, like keep your like my workload. Yeah. And now that I have a team of 9 people.
That's incredible.
A varying involvement in my business.
But you still see the benefits of having a team, even though you're managing the team.
Well, yes, because part of it is I've made sure that I have a profitability margin, right? Okay. Like this is how much it costs for my team to execute. This is how much would have to go to taxes. Yeah. And this is how much I actually need to be able to make this not more than break even. Yeah. And there's just like, anywhere from like 30 to 50% profit margin is what you should be bringing in. Because I also need to be able to pay myself and I need to be able to pay for the business coach and all that. And so for me, I have what they're called cost of goods sold. Mm-hmm. Like my team is only doing work that I'm otherwise getting paid for.
Got it.
Right? It's versus like my executive assistant is more like that's a business expense. Mm-hmm. She's making my life easier, but that comes out of that profit margin, right? To be able to pay for her. But everybody else on the team is only doing work because there's client work on the docket.
Right.
Versus like, I guess I have a podcast editor. So my executive assistant, my podcast editor, both of them would be considered like an expense to the company. Mm-hmm. Like marketing expense, executive expense. So they don't really pay for what they're doing is not paying for their role.
So the other people on your team are
they're all doing client work.
Okay, got it.
They're doing client work. So they're like creating strategies, writing emails, setting up the email tech, whatever. And that's all part of my productized service price. Yeah. Like this is the price that people pay. And I had to up my prices. Oh my gosh. Back when it was just me, I charged $4,500. Now it's $12,000. And part of it is because I was deeply undercharging even when it was for myself.
So is that like
and I have a
per
team.
month for a client?
No, $12,000 for the whole project. This
the
is for the
whole
Duett
life of the
debut. This is
project.
like
Okay.
a 5-month project.
Right, okay.
And they pay for it over the course of 6 months or whatnot.
Okay.
And then I have other ones that are like $1,500 for 2
So
hours of
people
my
can
time.
pick and choose what they need. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I do want to send people to you. And what's so funny is one of my family members was a food blogger, like this incredible vegetarian chef, and just even her Instagram post now, oh my God, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell her about you because I don't know if she's doing it or she's interested in doing it the way she was.
Yeah.
But you would be a great contact for her. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people, like, if you hear $12,000 and you're like, well, then it's not a good fit for you. But the people that it's a good fit for are like, oh, easy. Because it means I don't have to learn how to do it. I don't have to do it. Like,
Yeah. Well, I feel like they wouldn't be in any better hands than you. Like, you're so good
I
at what you
take
do.
very good care of our clients.
Yeah.
Like, I've had clients ask, they're like, were you a teacher? Like, everything is so organized. I'm like,
Love it.
no, I'm just anal retentive. It's
I
fine.
aspire to be at that level of organization and competence.
Gosh. And like, you know, the Lord has wired me in ways where I'm just like, yeah, I'm really good at systems and operations. I templatize things, but also like want to make sure it feels really human. Like, I don't know. I've loved being a business owner.
So
like,
amazing. You're aspirational.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Inspirational.
Inspirational
And
and aspirational. Yeah.
Well, so I have a couple questions because we need to wrap it up.
Sure.
We don't need to. It's my podcast. We should.
We should.
So, okay, a couple things. Funnels.
Yeah.
People talk about funnels all the time, and I think they assume that people know what that means, like regular people.
Yeah.
If you're just new to email marketing, like what is a funnel?
So a funnel is a way where you qualify people who would be a good fit to buy something that you have,
Okay.
and you sell them what you have.
And are funnels a range of things, or is it all email?
Ooh, it's a range of things. So
Okay.
there's lots of different parts of the funnel. So if you look at a funnel like this, you've got your top of funnel, which is going to be how you get out in front of the most people. And then by the end, who's at the bottom are like going to be your most qualified people who actually take action and buy. So there's a lot of decisions and things that have to happen in between. So top of funnel would be like Google search. They found your website, or they found you on Pinterest, or they found you on Instagram, right? Where you're like really spreading seed really hard.
Like a post on Instagram?
Post on
Is that
Instagram,
kinda-
yeah,
okay.
top of funnel. But then you need to move them to the next step. So it's like, okay, join my email list, or DM me if you want exclusive access or something like that. They have to take an action. Then they need to see what the offer is. And that could be on a sales page, or you're putting it on Instagram, like DM me and you'll get a link to buy this thing for $5. Like that's a funnel. Like it's a sales pitch, if you will. But other things, like maybe if it's like, come with me on my retreat to, you know, like a songwriter's retreat or something, could be a funnel. People are like, oh, you're following me. Join, like, get this freebie on 6 ways to feel more relaxed when songwriting. Obviously, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's me. And then you get emails that are like, great. Are you also in need of community or songwriting partners or whatever? Here's a story about how I came back from burnout as a writer. And you're telling these kind of stories over email.
Yeah.
And then just also weaving in like, so I created this retreat specifically, you know, at Lookout Mountain, Chattanooga or whatever. Like, and I only I only have 6 people who come every, you know, twice a year.
Yeah.
If you're interested, reply back. Like that could technically be a funnel. You know, then you have your hard sales funnel that is like, buy my thing, you know, but it's like, you get to decide how you present that. And it could be, you know, and I kind of, you notice how my tone changed? Like it could be calming or whatever. If this is the direction, if you're like, I want to get you so excited to send, you know, a daily email to your list and like buy my program, it's going to feel a lot different and whatever. And so maybe it's like a $50 course or a $2,000 retreat. But the idea is that you're narrowing it down so that in speaking to people specifically with their pain points, like notice how I said, like, do you ever feel overwhelmed? Do you need community? Do you need time away? Do you have burnout when it comes to songwriting? Like that's address the pain points and then kind of present your offer as the solution.
So is it also like a nurture sequence, or is it all kind of a part of, or is nurture sequence like a totally different, that's more of within the funnel, the specific funnel, you would have a nurture sequence?
I tend to just think of a nurture sequence as like value add content, really only. Just here's the backstory on a song that I released, you know,
So
2
this
years
is
ago.
less of a sell and
less
more
of a
just
sell.
give,
Just a
giving
give.
info.
Yep.
I
And
love
in
that.
general with sales, you want to, the rule of thumb is for every 3 value-based emails, you get like 1 sales email.
Oh, okay.
So you but even if people are brand new or they come through a Facebook ad to an opt-in and you redirect them to a sales page with a video explaining the retreat, people could buy right away. Like it just kind of depends on your audience, how quick they are to buy, the price of the product. But the reason why I say it has to be a qualified audience is because like that songwriter retreat isn't going to make any sense to me, right? Mm-hmm. I might see it on Instagram and just like pass by. But for the people that it's a good fit for, they're like, I am interested. And they click through and maybe they just join like a wait list or an interest list.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see who's all interested. And then you can kind of do a launch. That's a whole other thing.
Okay.
Basically a funnel is like an evergreen launch. So a campaign. Okay. So as if I were to say, okay, like in real time, this is the deadline to sign up for this event if you want to come to the songwriter retreat. Okay. And you can just like, you're sending like 6 emails and you're chatting with people. It's more meant to be like evergreen, meaning that it's running all of the time.
Oh, okay.
So you're not going to have like, you have to do it by Tuesday at 12 on this specific date if it's going to be automated. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it gets a little complicated. There is so much to learn. But like, that's where like the basics always come back to, are you growing your email list and are you emailing your email list? Yeah. Like, because you can't go move on to those next steps, like launching something or even knowing what your audience would want from you if you don't know your audience. And you can't know your audience if you don't gather them.
And are you ever just targeting, we'll just keep going, targeting certain points of certain segments of the audience? Yeah. Like you're only emailing this portion of the audience because
So it could even be, say you have a show coming to LA. Yeah. And you just want to email your LA people. Yeah. For like a behind the scene or like a meet and greet beforehand. Yeah. You could technically, gather by IP address or you send it to your whole list and the LA people will see it, or people might drive to LA. Yeah. So sometimes segmentation, like you could do that, but is that necessary? But I think like with my food bloggers, if you know who's vegetarian on your list, you're not going to send them a carnitas recipe. Totally. It's taking care of your audience in that way.
I get excited like getting your emails. So.
Oh, getting my emails?
Yeah. Like immediately I was like, I can't wait to see what she's going to like send me.
That's so sweet. But yeah, like even segmenting kind of goes back to like, if you were to have a membership of some sort, that is a segment. Okay. They're like, when you go to send those exclusive emails, you send it just to those people. Okay. Because they paid.
You've really inspired me and you've been so helpful to me and hopefully I know other people will be
I hope so.
excited to learn more about it. So I'm definitely going to like take what we talked about and start making an action plan.
There you go.
What to do. For anyone who wants to learn more about Duett, where can they find you, Duett, your podcast, all that good stuff?
Yeah, you can find it all at duett.co, duett.co. There's a link to the podcast on there. It's called Happy Subscribers if you want to search for it in your podcast finder. It's really fun. I just get to talk super nerdy email marketing, strategy, copywriting, tech, all of the things, and a lot of mindset stuff as well of like why email matters. Cool. We talk about all of that on there.
And Duett works with all types of clients. I know we talked about food blogging.
Yeah, mostly like of the creator sort. So like musicians, content creators, whether it's blog or Instagram or whatever, because you might have a huge audience on Instagram and be like listening to this going, I should probably get an email list going. Totally. Like I would love to talk with you about that. So I kind of like, I don't do anything with like corporate or software as a service really. It's mostly just like the creators.
That's so cool. And that's very like of the moment too. And you've been doing it for 7 years, but I feel like now more than ever, it's all about creators. So, and what is your Instagram?
At Allea Grummert.
At Allea Grummert. And you have a very unique spelling.
I do. It's like, oh, no one's going to know. So it's Allea. Yes. Grummert. But you'll see it. I've got a little yellow top on. You'll know. Feel like it's her with the yellow shirt.
Yay! Well, thank you so much for coming. Yeah. You were so awesome. Seriously, thanks for all the like great tips.
And, you're so welcome, Emma.
Sorry about the cameras. It always happens.
That's great. It's super fun. I'm the most relaxed I've been all week, just chilling.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is also transferable to any business because everyone needs an email list and. It definitely helped me a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, even just hearing like what you have to share is important. It doesn't have to be like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And like they can coexist. You can be a hustler and an investor at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. Well, on that note,
that
concludes this episode. Awesome.
Yay.
That was so great.
And cut.
In my